Hello and welcome to Japan Lyric Room. In this program, we explore the lyrics of Japanese songs, delivering clear explanations of their meanings and unique cultural backgrounds.
Right.
Please note that while the voices and illustrations in this video are AI generated, the project itself is run by two Japanese creators living in Japan. The script is carefully researched and written by us to provide original explanations.
Yeah. So today we have a really incredible lyric explanation lined up for you.
I really do. I mean, imagine waking up tomorrow and just not knowing if your most cherished childhood memories actually happened.
Oh, wow.
Or, if they were just like a software update installed into your brain while you slept. That is the terrifying, mind-bending reality we are exploring today.
It's super unsettling to even think about.
Right. And for this lyric explanation, we're looking at an absolute masterpiece that dropped digitally on July 29, 2026. I am talking about King Gnu's track, Go Ghost, which is the highly anticipated opening theme for the new TV anime, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, it is an incredibly layered piece of art. And, well, if we look at the bigger picture of the anime industry right now, there's this fascinating piece of production trivia that really sets the stage here.
Oh, for Anime Expo, right?
Exactly. At Anime Expo 2026 in Los Angeles, the creators dropped a massive surprise. Daiki Tsuneta, the creative force behind King Gnu, he's actually handling both the opening and the ending themes for this series.
Wait, really? Both of them?
Yeah. Through two of his different musical projects. So King Gnu performs this opening, Go Ghost, and his other project, Millennium Parade, handles the ending theme titled Blue.
Which is such a rare feat. I mean, it's essentially like one architect designing the entire skyline of a city. He gets to control the psychological entry and exit points for the audience.
That's a great way to put it.
But, to really grasp why his lyrics in this opening track hit so hard, we need to understand the world he is writing for. Specifically, the protagonist, Motoko Kusanagi.
Right, we have to talk about Motoko.
She's a cyborg. So, following a childhood accident, her entire physical body is prosthetic. Like the only biological human part left of her is her brain.
Yeah.
And because of this, she is just plagued by a relentless identity crisis.
Yeah.
She is constantly forced to ask herself, am I truly human? Is like any part of me actually real?
Exactly. And that brings us directly to the title of the song, Go Ghost, because in the universe of this franchise, the word ghost does not mean a phantom haunting a graveyard.
Right, it's not a spooky ghost.
No, it refers to the human soul. It's the core of self-consciousness that separates a living, breathing being from a mere machine.
Which is such a heavy concept.
It is. And what's fascinating is how King Gnu captures the immense existential weight of that ghost musically. The track is only 2 minutes and 51 seconds long.
Yeah, that's really short for them.
Very short. It's one of their shortest songs ever, yet it is astonishingly dense. It utilizes these folk-like vocal techniques and a Shinto prayer-style approach.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah, it serves as this deliberate, brilliant homage to Kenji Kawai, who is the legendary composer who scored the original Ghost in the Shell animated movie back in the 90s.
I absolutely love that musical connection. I mean, it bridges the history of the franchise while pushing it totally into the future.
It really does.
So our goal today is to guide you through 7 key phrases from the song. We're going to explore the intricate linguistic nuances of the Japanese text and, uncover Motoko's profound philosophy on how to survive in a completely flawed reality.
I'm ready.
So how do you cope when you don't know if your past is real? Let's look at phrase 1, the pieces of identity. And translated to English, it basically means every version of me is me. Even the breaking days, all the irreplaceable memories, let them be what makes me me.
And here is the exact cultural nuance for that phrase. Even a broken past is an irreplaceable memory. I wish for all of those pieces to serve as the foundation that truly makes me who I am.
Claiming the broken pieces of a past. I mean, it sounds inspiring, but I kind of want to push back on the language here just a bit.
Oh, how so?
Well, I noticed there is a very specific Japanese word at the end, tarashimero. Why use such a heavy, formal word for a song dropping in 2026? Wouldn't, a modern slang term fit a futuristic anime way better?
That is a really great observation, actually, and the formality is entirely intentional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Tarashimeru is a somewhat archaic literary suffix that translates to establish as such an existence. By using this highly formal phrasing, King Gnu gives her wish a sense of absolute permanence.
Interesting.
It is almost like she is writing a legal contract for her own soul. She isn't just casually accepting her past, she is desperately, viscerally demanding that these memories firmly establish her identity.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. It's like looking at a cracked smartphone screen, right? The cracks actually make it uniquely yours.
Yeah, exactly.
You instantly know it's your phone because of that specific web of shattered glass in the corner. And we spend so much time today trying to curate a perfect, pristine image for the world online. But here, she's actively claiming her glitches and traumas as her foundation.
It's a total reversal of how a machine operates.
Right, because for a machine, an error is just something to be deleted. Perfection is the default. By embracing the brokenness, she is proving her humanity.
Precisely. A machine does not cherish a broken memory, but a human soul does.
But, claiming all your broken pieces brings up a terrifying downside, which leads us right into phrase 2, the burden of perfect memory.
This one is heavy.
It is. If she is recording everything perfectly with a cyber brain, she can never just forget the bad stuff, the lyric says. In English, this translates to, I remember absolutely everything, sometimes to the point of being fed up.
The precise cultural nuance here is, I remember every single detail without missing a thing, sometimes to the point of complete exhaustion.
The idea of complete exhaustion from your own memories, that is just so heavy.
It is agonizing. And, well, to fully understand the weight, you have to look at the sensory context in the preceding lyrics. She describes waking up, noticing the scenery, hearing a voice, feeling the warmth of a hand.
Those are all beautiful things.
They are beautiful things. But for Motoko, who is connected to a cyber network, she remembers them with unblinking, flawless clarity. The lyric features the word eki, which is a very stiff, formal Chinese loanword meaning exhaustion or shrinking back from something overwhelming.
Wait, let me make sure I understand the linguistic trick here. They print this highly formal Chinese word in the official lyrics, but they don't actually sing it that way, right?
That's the brilliant part. King Gnu assigned it a colloquial Ruby reading.
Oh, I love when they do that.
Right. In written Japanese, Ruby characters are tiny phonetic guides placed above kanji to show pronunciation. Here, they place the reading unzari over the formal kanji. Unzari is a conversational, raw word meaning fed up or sick and tired.
So they are forcing a cognitive dissonance on the listener. The visual text, the stiff, formal kanji, represents her cold, calculating, cybernetic brain recording the data.
Exactly.
But the sung word, the raw, exasperated unzari, represents her exhausted, human ghost, just wanting a break from it all.
You nailed it. It perfectly balances the intellectual reality of her machinery with her raw human exhaustion.
Think about this for a second. Imagine never being able to naturally forget the sting of an embarrassing moment or like the sharp, visceral pain of a heartbreak.
It would be too much.
It would. Human brains blur things over time to protect us. But being plugged into a vast network where data never degrades, it is the ultimate double-edged sword. She wants the memories to prove she is real, but the cybernetic perfection of those memories is just an endless torment.
Which brings us to a crucial turning point. How does she physically react to that torment?
Right. She can't just wallow in it.
She doesn't just sit and suffer, she converts it into kinetic energy in phrase 3, embodying the unthinkable.
Roughly translated. No matter what fate is, let it all become flesh and blood and dance.
And the deeper cultural nuances. Whatever fate may bring, absorb it all as your own flesh and blood and make your life leap with vigor.
The imagery here is striking, but also incredibly ironic.
It is deeply ironic. The core of this line is the idiom jiniku to naru, literally translating to become flesh and blood.
Right.
It is used to describe fully absorbing an experience or knowledge until it is an intrinsic part of who you are. The irony, of course, is that Motoko doesn't actually have organic flesh and blood, aside from her brain.
Oh, yeah.
The very thing she lacks physically is what she claims metaphorically to build her human essence.
What stands out to me the most, though, is that final imperative word, odore, meaning dance. That feels entirely contradictory to me.
Contradictory how?
Well, we're so used to the sci-fi trope of the cold, logic-driven robot, right? Dancing is irrational. It is inefficient. It serves no purely logical purpose. Why would a cyborg command herself to do that?
Because that inefficiency is the ultimate proof of life. By commanding herself to dance, she is actively defying the machine logic of her prosthetic body.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, she takes a cold, harsh fate and forces it into a vibrant, passionate, entirely human expression.
But if she's dancing, she's doing so on the edge of a cliff. The world she inhabits is incredibly unstable, which brings us to phrase 4, trusting the senses in a crazy world.
Yes, the setting is vital here.
The lyric is, in English, with such a future where the screws have flown off at my back, sharpen the 5 senses.
The exact cultural nuance captures it beautifully. Carrying a crazy future where all sense has flown out the window, sharpen your 5 senses to survive.
Where the screws have flown off. That paints quite a picture of a broken society.
It does. The idiom neji gatobu literally means screws flying loose, and it is a common colloquialism for someone losing their sanity or a situation completely breaking down.
Like having a screw loose in English.
Exactly. But King Gnu does something fascinating with the written language here. They use highly archaic kanji spellings for modern slang. They write screw as neji using old characters and such as sonoyo.
Why do that? Why dress up modern futuristic slang in ancient characters?
It forces the reader's brain to slow down. When Japanese readers see these dense, ancient characters applied to a dystopian future, it creates this visual friction.
That's so clever.
It implies that this broken, chaotic cyber world isn't just a temporary software glitch. The madness has become as entrenched and permanent as ancient history. It gives the lyric the weight of a dark prophecy.
And in the middle of this permanent dystopia, her survival strategy is to sharpen her gokan, her 5 physical senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Which, again, is profound.
It really is.
Her body is constantly receiving system diagnostics, digital data streams, and network updates. Yet she chooses to reject the digital feed and rely on her physical senses.
Why do you think that choice is so critical for her?
I think it's like when you are driving and your car's GPS is absolutely insisting that you need to turn left into a lake.
Oh yeah, we've all been there.
Right. You just know, using your own eyes and physical senses, that the digital data is wrong. You ignore the machine and trust yourself. For Motoko, in a hyper-digital reality where visual data can be hacked and memories can be altered, her raw physical perception is her only true anchor.
Exactly. But relying on those analog senses while surrounded by a purely digital world creates a profound sense of alienation. As she anchors herself, she realizes just how small she is, leading us to phrase 5, the lonely ghost in the machine.
The imagery shifts dramatically here, pulling all the way back to show her isolation. The lyric is, simply translated, one floating jellyfish, glowing red in the night breeze.
And the cultural nuance for this beautiful line is, like a solitary jellyfish floating in the dark sea, a lonely presence glows faintly red in the night breeze.
Let's break down the language here, because I know there's a gorgeous linguistic secret hidden in the Japanese word for jellyfish.
There is. So the word used is kurake. This is an ateji, which means the kanji are used for their phonetic sound or visual meaning rather than their standard readings.
Right.
The specific characters chosen literally translate to sea moon. It visually reflects how a pale jellyfish looks exactly like a moon suspended in the dark, silent water.
Sea moon. That's stunning. It perfectly captures her existence in the vast internet, or the net as it's called in the series. The dark sea is the endless void of cyberspace, and she is this solitary entity drifting through it. But the lyric also mentions she glows faintly red.
Yes, that is a very specific visual reference to her cybernetic body. When Motoko interfaces deeply with the network and communicates via her cyberbrain, her optical implants, her eyes glow red.
I see.
It is a quiet yet undeniable assertion of her consciousness in the dark void.
Have you ever felt like a tiny sea moon floating in the endless ocean of the internet? Just like another glowing dot online, endlessly scrolling, surrounded by petabytes of data but feeling entirely alone.
Oh, definitely.
It is such a visceral modern feeling.
It is deeply relatable.
Okay.
But Motoko refuses to just be a passive digital avatar floating in the dark. That glowing consciousness demands recognition, which brings us to phrase 6, reclaiming the vessel.
The lyric reads, my English translation is, now as this vessel whispers that it lives, awaken the 5 senses.
The cultural nuance we find here is, now that a whisper of life rises from this physical shell, awaken the 5 senses sleeping within.
I have to admit, when I was first looking at the notes for this phrase, I was genuinely confused by a lyrical trick King Gnu employs here.
The kanji mismatch.
Yes, Why would a songwriter write one thing in the lyrics but sing something completely different?
It is a phenomenal way to show internal conflict. In the written text, the word used for her physical form is utsuwa, meaning a vessel, container, or shell.
Like something hollow.
Exactly. It implies an artificial object meant to hold something else. But when the vocalist sings the line, he doesn't say utsuwa, he sings karada, the Japanese word for a living biological body.
So it exposes the massive gap between how society views her and how she views herself. The world looks at her prosthetic form and sees a replaceable tool, a mere container. Utsuwa.
Yeah, but to her,
It is her karada. It is her true living body. By awakening her senses, she is forcing reality to recognize her artificial shell as alive.
she is literally willing life into metal and wire. And that intense self-actualization inevitably brings her into conflict with the society around her, culminating in phrase 7, the ultimate choice.
The climax of the song.
Yes. Having reclaimed her past and her body, she delivers her final judgment on the world.
Translated to English. Sanity and madness are the same form. It is always up to you.
And the final cultural nuances. Sanity and madness share the exact same underlying form. In the end, the choice always rests with you.
Sanity and madness share the exact same underlying form. That is an incredibly bold philosophical statement. But, isn't it dangerous to say sanity and madness are exactly the same? It almost sounds like giving up.
It might sound like it, but it is actually the opposite. It is total liberation.
Really? How so?
You have to look at the world she lives in. Societal norms have completely collapsed. Human consciousness is digitized, memories can be manufactured, bodies are mass-produced.
Everything is fluid.
Right. In a reality that fluid, the structural boundary between what society labels sane and what it labels madness disintegrates. The external systems are broken, so their labels mean nothing.
So if the world cannot tell you what is right or wrong anymore, how do you make a choice?
You look inward. The language shifts again to emphasize this. The lyrics pair the somewhat archaic word itsudate, meaning always, with a blunt, almost dismissive phrase, shidai sa, meaning it's up to you.
It's very absolute.
It is a fierce rejection of the government, the network, and societal expectations. She is saying the ultimate judgment of reality must come from your own internal ghost.
And I love that right after this Japanese line, the song drops a quick English phrase, just you. It immediately drives the point home.
It really punches it.
It makes me think about how much we outsource our choices today, you know? Algorithms dictate what music we listen to, what news we read, what products we buy. We let the digital world categorize us rather than trusting our own intuition.
That is why King Gnu's writing here transcends the anime. They have taken a cyberpunk narrative about a cyborg and turned it into an anthem for surviving the modern digital age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even when you are drowning in a chaotic, information-saturated world, the power of choice remains yours alone.
We could easily spend hours unpacking the mechanics of this 2-minute and 51-second track. It is a masterclass in using linguistic friction to tell a story.
It really is. And as we wrap up our exploration today, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over on your own.
Let's hear it.
In an era where algorithms, profiles, and digital networks define so much of how the world sees you, imagine if all that external data and societal definitions were entirely stripped away. What is the core ghost that remains within you? What is that one imperfect, perhaps broken memory that you would hold on to prove that you are uniquely, undeniably you?
Thank you so much for listening. We feature various Japanese songs and provide detailed explanations on our website. Please check the link in the description to explore more. If you enjoyed this program, please subscribe to our channel and let us know your thoughts or song requests in the comments. See you next time. This was Japan Lyric Room.